The silent exit. The Galactic Council. Hall was full that day. Representatives from 100 alien species sat in the great dome, their colorful robes shining under the lights. Long necks, feathered heads, glowing eyes, every race in the net. Galaxy was watching, but all eyes were on just one figure. She stood alone. A human, the last representative of Earth. Her name was Ambassador Elena Vasquez. She wore a black uniform with no medals, no colors, no expression. Her face was calm, too. Calm. That scared some of them more than any weapon could. "Ambassador," said High Speaker Zorina, voice clicking nervously, "you have not spoken in 3 meetings. Will you now respond to the Council's judgment?" Elena didn't move. The silence stretched. A silence so heavy, even the air felt frozen. Zorina's voice became sharp. Earth refused to share its long-range data. Earth broke the trade protocols. Earth ignored military requests. Earth has Elena raised one hand, not to fight, not to argue, just raised it. Everyone stopped talking. Then she lowered her hand, turned around, and walked toward the doors of the chamber. "Wait," barked General Kurthal of the Drask. "This is not procedure." But she kept walking. Her boots made a soft echo on the polished floor. Each step was quiet, but it felt louder than a starship engine. She reached the door. Stop. And for a moment, the whole galaxy seemed to hold its breath. Elena turned her head slightly, just enough for the Council to hear her final words. "You made your choice." Then she stepped into the hallway and was gone. No one moved for a long time. 3 hours later, Earth's embassy ships left the central station. No fighter escort, no warnings, no threats. Just a quiet departure. Files were deleted. Channels were closed. Human presence across the central systems faded like mist in the wind. They were gone. Across the galaxy, reactions exploded. Some aliens cheered. Good, let them go. They were always difficult. Others whispered, why didn't they say anything? What are they planning? News channels asked, is Earth leaving the Council? Will this hurt the trade routes? Are we at war? But no answer came. Earth didn't speak. Earth didn't reply. Earth simply disappeared. 2 weeks later, strange things began to happen. A pirate fleet attacked the outer trade station of Telran 4. No one came to help. That station had always been under Earth's watch. A transport convoy vanished near the dead zone. That zone had once been patrolled by quiet human ships. On the edge of the galaxy, a dying star changed color red to blue just before exploding. Some said it was just space doing what space does, but others remembered something. A story, a human phrase. We don't shout, we don't scream. We walk away when we've had enough. Back in the council hall, arguments broke out. Why did they leave? They were always too proud. They must be hiding something. The truth was simpler and much more dangerous. They had warned the council. Many times they had asked for action. They had begged for unity. They had tried to protect the future. The council laughed. Called them emotional. Too fragile. Too human. So Earth stopped talking. And now they were gone. That night, High Speaker Zorna sat alone in his chamber. He replayed the scene again and again, the human's calm voice, her quiet steps, the cold message. You made your choice. He did not sleep because something inside him whispered a thought that chilled his blood. What happens when the humans decide not to come back? Before the fall. 3 months before Earth's silent exit, the warning signs were already there, but no one wanted to see them. Not until it was too late. The Galactic Council's central dome, high above the clouds of Zenthra Prime, had just finished its morning session. Bright banners waved in the wind, showing peace between the stars. but in a quiet hallway below, two voices argued. "You don't understand," said Ambassador Ela Vasquez, standing beside a holographic map. "Something is moving beyond the rim. We've picked up strange signals. Entire colonies are going dark." "Probably pirate activity," said General Kurthal with a bored grunt. "This happens every century." "No," Elena said firmly. "These aren't pirates. They're organized, quiet, fast. Our ships barely detect them before." High Speaker Zarana raised a clawed hand. "Ambassador Vasquez, Earth is always emotional. Perhaps too emotional. We cannot act based on human gut feelings." The other delegates laughed. Politely, Elena didn't. She just stared at the map. The red blinking lights were spreading dot, and no one else cared. Later that night, she stood by the observation deck of Earth's embassy tower dot below. The alien city glowed with colors, and ships moved like stars across water. Elena watched in silence. Behind her, Commander Yusef Kwan approached. Tall, calm, and dressed in Earth's Black Ops uniform. "They refused again?" he asked. Elena nodded. "They think we're overreacting. That we're just humans being dramatic." Kwan folded his arms. "How long do we wait?" "Not long," she replied. "The last colony to go silent was one of ours. No survivors." They stood there for a while. Two humans in a city that no longer wanted to hear them. Then Elena said quietly, "It's time." A hidden order went out that night. A quiet signal carried only by deep code satellites. Across the galaxy, human outposts began shutting down. Civilian scientists packed their labs. Engineers boarded ships. Cargo routes were rerouted away from Council space. No one else noticed until it was already in motion. Meanwhile, in the Council's war chamber, the general spoke proudly. "We don't need Earth ships. We have strength. They're unpredictable anyway. Their weapons are strange. Too many secrets." And so the Council made their decision. They voted to reduce Earth's power in all matters: trade, defense, voting rights, influence. The results were clear. 96 votes in favor. Only 4 opposed. One of the opposing voices, an old lizard-like diplomat from Rolnath, spoke before leaving. "You don't push away your fire when winter is near." No one listened. Back on Earth, the skies were silent. The people didn't protest, didn't panic. They simply began preparing. Children were called home. Soldiers returned from the edge. Factories shifted to building things no one had seen in decades: defensive satellites, deep-range beacons, shield stations. But no news was released. No speech from the president. No threats. Just silence. Even the EarthNet broadcast stopped its live feeds to the Council. One by one, Earth's lights in the galaxy blinked out, and the other species, so used to human help, shrugged and moved. On until the day Elena stood in the Council chamber and walked away. And now, 3 weeks later, one by one, the stars were going dark. In the outer rim, the world of Thricken fell in one night. No distress call, no defense fleet. Just silence. Council ships arrived too late. They found only ashes and symbols burned into the stone. Not alien writing, not a threat, just a single line. Where was the Council? In the central chamber, panic spread like fire. Trade routes were collapsing. Allied colonies were under attack. And Earth? Earth said nothing. No messages. No offers of help. Just silence. A silence that now felt like punishment. Some began to regret their vote. Others began to fear something deeper. What if Earth had seen what was coming and chose to protect only its own? Because maybe, just maybe, Earth hadn't abandoned the Council. Maybe they were just getting ready. Asterisk. The day the stars changed, it started with a flicker. A soft change in the night sky. Something small. Easy to miss. But for those who looked closely, scientists, star watchers, old space captains, they all saw the same thing. The stars were changing. The first sign came from the far edge of the Growth Cluster. A peaceful region. No crime. No war. Suddenly, all 15 communication satellites went offline at the same second. No explosion. No sound. Just black. Next came the strange lights. Observers on Talara 9 reported glowing shapes moving across the upper sky, fast, silent, like shadows made of starlight. Then came the signal. Only one word, sent in Earth's old binary code. Now, in the Galactic Council chambers, fear was spreading. Reports poured in. Colony Alpha Core lost power for 17 hours. No one could explain why. A secret vault on Draxus 7 was found open, but nothing stolen. Only a message left behind. We warned you. Entire fleets turned around mid-course, their navigation systems confused by invisible interference. Every problem led back to one thing. One missing power. Earth. General Kurthal slammed a fist on the round table. This is nonsense. How can a single planet cause this chaos? Ambassador Salai of the Surians hissed softly. Not a planet. People. A people you mocked. High Speaker Zorina sat in silence. His claws tapped nervously. Finally, he whispered, we should not have ignored them. Across the stars, something else was happening. Hidden defense systems ones Earth had quietly built years ago were shutting down. The solar mirrors that shielded the desert moons? Offline. The listening towers that warned of black hole surges? Silent. The gravity locks near mining belts? Gone. No alarms. Just a quiet retreat. The safety nets Earth had once placed were vanishing. In the shadows of the galaxy, things waited. And now they moved. In the Dronok sector, a long-dead empire rose again. Their ghost ships, powered by dark energy, crept into open space. In the Zeth Rift, ancient machines buried in asteroid fields began waking up. No one knew who built them, but Earth once kept them asleep. Now, they stirred. And in the black space beyond Chartis V, a shape was seen bigger than a moon, but darker than anything natural. It had no name, but Earth once had files about it. Files. The Council never read. Files marked, if this moves, evacuate everything. Now it moved. On a small research station orbiting Tyros 3, a young alien named Lika stood frozen. Her screen showed a heat map 1 that had once been steady and cold. Now the center burned red. What is that? Her friend asked, leaning over. Lika swallowed hard. That's where Earth used to patrol. The red glow pulsed again. It was coming. Back in the council chamber, the panic became real. Arguments filled the air. Bring Earth back. Send peace ships. They won't answer. Try again. A message was drafted, apologizing, begging. It was sent through the old human channels. No. Reply. Only silence. Then after 5 days, one signal came through. A video. It showed a field of stars, slowly going dark. One by one. No voice. No music. Just a human word typed across the black screen. Understand? It was not a threat. It was not revenge. It was a lesson. Because all those years, Earth had warned them, had protected them, had held the walls of the galaxy up. Now, those walls were falling, and the stars were changing. Asterisk, the Forbidden's archives, the Zarthan archives, were hidden beneath 10 kilometers of black rock on a frozen moon called Ilanos 12. Most members of the Galactic Council had forgotten it even existed. Some believed it was just a myth, a place where old data went to die. But it was real. And deep inside its vaults was something even more dangerous than war. The truth. Scholar Yalin Voss, a young Cathari historian with sharp eyes and 6 fingers, stood at the sealed gate. He had spent 7 years chasing fragments old whispers from decommissioned Terran satellites and erased records. Now, he was here. Beside him, the old archive guard looked nervous. No one has opened this room in 80 years. Good, Yalin said. Then maybe no one has erased what I need. The doors opened with a slow hiss. Inside, dust floated like ancient ghosts. Walls of glowing panels stretched upward, humming with forgotten power. He moved quickly. Earth had left breadcrumbs. Hints that someone might one day want to understand. And now, someone finally did. He activated one panel marked Project Hollow Sky. The screen lit up. A human woman's face appeared calm, tired, professional. Dr. Reiko Tanaka, Terran. Deep intelligence. If you're seeing this, we've already left. Yalin leaned in as the message played. We monitored threats the Council ignored. We saw patterns in deep space signals, old things waking. We warned them. They laughed. So we built something they never asked for. Protection. Not weapons, not fleets, not destruction. Nets, cages, seals. And now we're turning them off. Jalen's eyes widened. This wasn't about war. This was about what Earth had been holding back. What the Council never saw, because they never looked. He opened another file. The children beneath ice. Images. Flickered across the screen. Frozen cities buried under moons. Ancient eyes glowing beneath the surface. Long-lost signals that repeated only one phrase. We remember the first fire. Earth had mapped these ruins. Studied them. And quietly built containment. Fields. Each system had one. Hidden. Quiet. Human-designed. Meant to keep sleeping monsters asleep. Now, they were waking. Back in the Council's crisis chamber. News poured. In a mining station near the black planet Velmora, vanished in seconds. No trace. A war fleet tried to investigate an energy spike on the edge of the Krell Divide. It never sent back a signal. A single human drone, long thought inactive, was found in deep space, still watching, still recording, still transmitting. Council members finally asked the real question. Were we ever really in control? Scholar Jalin sent a report to the Council. His words were simple, but chilling. Earth didn't abandon us. They were keeping the monsters out. Now that they're gone, the locks are open. High Speaker Zorina stared at the report for a long time. Why didn't we listen? He whispered. General Kurthal was pale. Because we thought they were just humans. Silence, and then a single sentence filled the chamber, an automated signal from Earth's last forgotten beacon. We asked for unity. You chose pride. Suddenly, the lights flickered. The stars outside shifted, and across hundreds of worlds. Alarms began to scream. The Council had thought the archives were just history. They were wrong. They were warnings, and they had been ignored for too long. Asterisk. The message that never came. The Council had sent 27 messages. Some were formal. Some were desperate. Some begged. All of them were ignored. Now, the central communication sphere on Zenthra Prime sat cold and silent. Hundreds of glowing message trails floated around the chamber, each one leading to Earth's old coordinates. All dead ends. Ambassador Kalari, a long-necked Frasari diplomat with silver skin, looked around at the others. Her voice trembled. They aren't answering because they don't want to. No, whispered High Speaker Zorina. They're watching. Across the galaxy, the stars were shifting. Not in space, but in meaning. Where once Earth's ships quietly moved, now only shadows passed. Where Earth once built listening posts, now black storms formed. And where Earth once responded within seconds, now there was only one thing. Silence. In a Council intelligence room, an analyst named Ven Kahl studied the signal patterns. His screen blinked. Something strange had appeared, just for a moment. A single wave formed. Old. Familiar. Human. He enhanced it. There was no sound. Only a visual flash across the star map. One word, spoken in every known language at once. Remember. They had been sending messages out. But Earth? Earth had never replied. Not even once. Not until now. But this wasn't a reply. It was a reminder. In a small temple on Werathin. An elder priest uncovered a metal cube buried beneath sacred sands. It activated with her touch. A voice calm, human, and decades old spoke. This is Earth's gift to those who still believe. When we are gone, we are not absent. When you regret, we are not angry. But when you cry for help, ask yourself, did you listen when it mattered? The priest wept. Not for herself, but for the galaxy, because she understood something most had forgotten. Humans do not abandon. They endure, they warn, and then they vanish. Back at the council chamber, the final vote was held. A new resolution. Full diplomatic reinstatement for Earth. Apology. Plea for return. It passed 100 to 1. But it didn't matter anymore. Because Earth wasn't waiting for votes. Earth was already done. High. Speaker Zorana stood before the great transmitter. He spoke carefully, with real emotion. To the people of Earth, we were blind. We were proud. You saw the danger, and we mocked you. Please help us now. The galaxy's falling apart, and only you can stop what's coming. He hit send. For hours. Nothing. No signal. No light. No sound. Until the stars in the council. Sky flickered. A shape formed in orbit, just for a moment. A dark silhouette. Human in shape. Giant in size. Then gone. And on every screen, across every system, a new message appeared, typed in silence. The sky is yours now. We kept it clean. Let's see what you do with it. No threat. No promise. Just truth. And the galaxy finally understood. Earth didn't hate them. Earth had hoped they would grow. But now, they would face the darkness alone. Asterisk. The collapse. It didn't happen with a bang. There was no war cry. No full invasion. No giant armada tearing across the stars. The fall of the council came like frost creeping under a door, slow, silent. An unstoppable. The planet Saturn, once the trade jewel of the eastern spiral, lost its orbital grid in minutes. Shuttles dropped from the sky. Towers cracked. The air flickered with static. A child looked up and asked, "Where are the human ships?" There was no answer. Only smoke. In the mining systems of Valtaros. Deep within council-controlled space, something ancient emerged from the ice tunnels, tall, thin, and metallic, with symbols that matched no known species. The miners tried to run. They didn't get far. By the time the council arrived, the machines were already gone. So were the miners. A hologram was left behind. A human face. Tired. Old. Smiling. Sadly. We tried to keep them asleep. In the Grand Council chamber, fear turned to madness. Species blamed each other. Old grudges returned. Weapons were drawn inside the once sacred dome. Even the stars outside. The windows looked darker. General Kurthal stood at the edge of the war. Table shaking. "We were wrong," he whispered. It wasn't human pride. It was mercy. High Speaker Zorana buried his face in his hands. And we burned it. Across the galaxy, alliances began to break. Ships turned on former friends, refugees. Flooded neutral zones. Signals screamed for help. Every system cried out with the same question. Where is Earth? But Earth had gone, silent long ago. Not because they couldn't speak, but because they were done trying. On the outer world Naraxis V, where a human listening station once stood, a group of alien settlers dug through the ruins. They found no weapons. No bunkers. Only books, notes, warnings, and a plaque, half buried in the dust. We don't protect because we're strong. We protect because we know what happens when no one does. Everywhere the same pattern repeated. Where Earth had once watched quietly, chaos now bloomed. Where Earth had once shielded silently, fire now spread. Where Earth had once given warnings, the warnings had become reality. Then came the final signal. 1. Last message. No name, no source. Just a recording of a child, a little human girl's voice, soft and clear. You didn't listen, so now you have to learn. We still love you, but we can't help you anymore. That recording played across all frequencies. Every species heard it. Some wept, some screamed, some knelt, but no one answered, because Earth was no longer part of the galaxy's game. They had walked away, and now the stars collapsed in their absence. On Zenthra Prime, the council buildings stood empty, once filled with pride and power, now filled with dust. A single banner hung on the broken wall, half burned, barely visible. The Terran seal, still there, still watching. Asterisk. The price of forgiveness. The galaxy was quiet now, not peaceful, just broken. Ships drifted in dead orbits. Cities turned to ash. Trade networks were gone. Entire species were hiding, afraid of what else might wake. No one spoke of power anymore. Now, they spoke of survival. And of one name call on Earth. On the ruined floor of the council chamber, a new delegation gathered. Not politicians. Not warriors. Survivors. They stood in silence, staring at the stars beyond the shattered dome. Soorano was there, his voice old and dry. Kurthal came scarred. Quiet. So did Lika the scholar. Even Yalin. Voss from the Forbidden's archives. Each carried the same hope. A second chance. No speech was given. No promises made. They simply stood, side by side, and opened a small, ancient transmitter, one of the last devices Earth had ever shared. They didn't send a demand. Not a deal. Just a sentence. We were wrong. We're sorry. If you're still watching, please, come home. Then silence again. They waited. 1 hour. 10. 1 full day. No reply. Some wept. Some stayed quiet. Some whispered prayers to the void. And just as hope began to fade, the stars shifted. Rippled past across the sky, like the galaxy itself took a breath. Light. Bright. Bright. Pure. A ship emerged, but not like the old warships. This one was smooth, silent, beautiful, wrapped in light and shadow. Not built to fight, but to remind. To teach. To watch. And from its core came a voice, calm, familiar. Human. Forgiveness isn't a word. It's a lesson. We were not your enemies. We were your mirror. The voice paused. Then came the question the galaxy feared and hoped for. What have you learned? Zorana stepped forward. Not proud, not demanding. He placed one hand on his chest and bowed deeply. We've learned that silence has meaning, that absence is not weakness, and that your patience was not our right. The voice answered softly. Then perhaps we can begin again. A beam of soft golden light extended from the human ship. Not a weapon. A bridge. To talk. To learn. To rebuild. Across the galaxy, signals sparked alive. Not just from Earth, but from old allies. Human stations long thought lost, hidden colonies protected. In silence, humanity had not vanished. They had waited. Not to punish, but to see if the galaxy would grow. And now, the galaxy would. Because it had to, because Earth wasn't just coming back. It never left. On the edge of the stars, a new flag rose. Not a Terran flag, not a council flag, a new symbol of promise. One world cannot carry the stars alone, but one world can show others how. Asterisk.